Oh my. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. So scrolling through Facebook one day and I came across this absolute monstrosity. Look at that. It's a moto-topped Les Paul Custom. I love it and hate it at the same time. You know, generally when I use the term monstrosity, I think of it as a complimentary Lilo and Stitch kind of monstrosity. It's a little bit bizarre, so let's go ahead and dive into this thing. So it appears we've got binding like a normal custom yet. We've got two knobs of differing styles, none of them likely original. We've got some sort of a 1972 Gibson T-top because that's the only general year date range that you get the Gibson embossing in this exact manner. And then we've got some sort of an upside down bridge pickup. We've got some weird stuff going on with our bridge here, like there's cutouts right there. So then we've got a regular tailpiece, but if you look up in this corner, you can see our moto design is lifting. And if you don't know what moto is, it's a shortened nickname of mother of toilet seat. It's a term Fender's used at least since the 90s for their pearloid pick guards and just complete covered guitars. Yeah, that's right, there's a Stratocaster that looks like this. It even comes with the matching amp. But the problem when they use real celluloid to create these beautiful effects is it off-gasses and shrinks. So when you look up here and see it lifting, it's probably due to a similar process. So Laurent found this thing for sale and decided he was gonna give it a shot to see if he could restore it on a budget. But wait till you find out what's underneath this sticker, as he called it. Surprise! Oh boy. All right, so we've got a third pickup route in the center here, very hastily done. Still a little bit confused exactly what happened to our bridge. And it almost looks like we had like some sort of a vibrola down here. It could just be random holes for like a plaque or something too. And we have some sort of an extra hole down here that was being covered up by our toilet sheet over here, which came off relatively unscathed. So it might have been somebody had modified this guitar and had a whole bunch of other things that the next owner didn't want. So instead of, professionally filling it in, making it look nice, they decided to put the then in thing moto over top of it. Because what this looks like to me is somebody just sanded down the clear coat to give a way for this to adhere to the top of the guitar. Because when I first saw this, I thought that was finish wear. But if anything, I think that's just residue of the sticky substance that was keeping that thing together. And we can see how much cheese is on our fretboard here, so that definitely needs a deep cleaning. Let's see what else we can discover. Well, the back. Honestly, this is kind of cool. You've got this honeycomb pattern all over it. It kind of reminds me of finish checking, which, of course, there is some of that on here, and somebody had naturally worn through to the mahogany. It wouldn't have surprised me had there been another one of those moto covers on the back of this, and this was just what was left over of it. By the way, the back, not too bad. Except for we do have a random strap button put right here, but we've got 3 pieces of mahogany within our neck, so that makes this likely an early 70s custom. But, okay, we do have another photo here. So it looks like there might have been some sort of a clear film on the back, probably to help protect the finish. Great job that did. What we were seeing in that photo was this still on it, because now the finish is just straight up missing. Okay, I understand these photos now. So this is where he's got it off. He's taken our strap button down. It looks like he's going to rewire it. Here it is completely sanded down. He's doing some more work on the top. And hey, that did not clean up too badly once you get all the glue and residue off. And then it looks like he made the option to move that neck pickup into the middle position, which is actually pretty nice from an aesthetic standpoint. Gibson being centered within the pickups. Then he's going to leave that bridge alone, but he plugged our tailpiece holes, likely to re-drill them, make them good. And it looks way better than when it first started, even if it is still a little bit rough around the edges. But here it is completed with that tailpiece back installed. Looks like he's just gonna leave the big gaping hole there. It's already there. You might as well add another volume control that just has like a metal knurled knob. That way it doesn't get in your way, and then you can use that as like a blend control for your middle pickup. But this is one of those great light restorations where it didn't need tons of work, and we didn't hide all of its previous sins. It's just part of the story on it. Speaking of part of the story, Chicago Music Exchange listed a very interesting double neck. Now I want you to take a good look at this. I'll give you a couple of seconds here. Can you tell me what is different about this? Yeah, it's our cutaways. So normally this guitar would have looked something like this. You can see it's got a nice U shape over here and then a smaller U there. But when you go back here, instead of a nice U shape on all these, they're all V-cutted. So somebody was brazen enough to take a double neck and modify it even further, and then they refinished the entire body to make it look factory, which I've got to hand it to them. It looks a little bit crude. I would have never been brave enough to do that, but somebody needed the upper fret access, and when you have limited frets on these double necks to begin with, because the 6-string side only has 20 frets, I suppose it makes sense. And this is a 70s era one. You don't find those too often in the white finish. Of course, you got the nice giant volutes. But hey, would you look at that, super ultra heavy duty case. That just confirms the theory that this was something that somebody used on stage. So I'm sure somebody has the answer of where this thing came from. Looks like we still got the original 70s patent number T-tops in here, in both locations, thankfully, because this guy was not scared to modify his guitars. Pot codes date to 1974. Overall, just kind of a strange piece. It was listed for $8,400 USD and appears to have found a new home. To continue on along our modified guitars journey tonight, let's check out another one from the mid-70s. This is a Gibson Marauder offered by Southside Guitars over in Brooklyn. This one came up one night and I had to click on it because I just love seeing people's reimaginations of what Marauders and S1s and L6Ss could have been, because they were just plain kinda student models. They weren't all that expensive. So before they became vintage, they were just used and people would use them as art projects. So they just called this one Airbrushed. I've got to say, I'm quite fond of this kind of amber bronze burst paint scheme that they did. It works pretty good with our rosewood fretboard over here being nice and streaky. Then in the center, you've got kind of like a wispy cloud / wind, your North Star, maybe some other planets. It's almost like you're standing on Mars looking out to the universe. But this headstock got me laughing and laid out the situation in my head. I'm playing this guitar on stage, somebody comes up to me and says, "Hey, what brand is that?" "It's Gibson." Because it's no longer Gibson, it's all just Gibson smushed all together. Now what happened there is it appears the decal, maybe when they were applying it, got messed up. I guess it's possible it was a replacement one because you can actually see the outline of where it was properly placed, so something happened to it, and I can't comment any further. But when you get to the back, they did the continuation of their little airbrush paint job. So is it the coolest Marauder I've ever seen? No, but it's got a story, maybe even has something going on along the sides I can't quite see. They're asking about $1,600 for it. But now check out the V. So it's from 1981, it's by Yaman's. Even with shipping, $2,900 is not too bad for one of these. But look what someone did to it. Ace Frehley vibes. We got some DiMarzio Super Distortions triple pickup situation going on here. Normally these things only had 2 Dirty Fingers pickups that were also double creams like this. But normally you have these 3 knobs and your output jack, and then somebody deleted the toggle switch for another knob, but then we have 4 mini switches on here. Now if I had to guess, this is probably like in and out of phase and or some sort of a coil splitter, and then they did like what Gibson did on the US1, where they have a switch for each pickup, neck pickup, middle, and bridge. That's how I imagine it would work, and I don't hand out compliments to relics all that often. This just has really natural looking wear. From the finish checking to the area that's worn down. Now, maybe the wood could have been dirtied up a little bit more. And I'm not a big fan of how that neck looks. It looks like somebody took a chisel to it. But they really nailed that whole aging, finish checking, and cracking vibe. So looking through everything, I didn't see anything out of the ordinary until, oh, Kim LaFleur over here. Historic makeovers. So this was made to replicate the Lynyrd Skynyrd Big Ed. So they did this about a decade ago, and it was featured on their page. They also did one of those double pickguard Carinas. But these guys do very nice aging jobs. Now, do I think this one's worth quite that much? Not in my opinion, but maybe to someone it'll speak to them. To round out our episode tonight, I've got another promotional guitar that a viewer of the show sent in. This is a gorgeous Les Paul custom in like a nice sapphire twilight blue finish. The gold hardware really pops. If I had to guess what era this came out of, just looking right here, I'd probably say early 90s. But since we've got a giant promotional anniversary type thing down here and it says 2006, well, I think we all know when it was made. But it was a full finish on the back, the sides, the neck, and surprisingly, including the headstock. We're kind of spoiled in modern production. It's like you have to remember, there was a time when Pelham Blue was a rare finish, but now it's just on everything. Matching headstock Gibson in the 2000s era, very, very scarce. So the fact that they did this is pretty sweet. And yet there does not appear to be a serial number. But inside the bridge pickup cavity, it reads, "Finished by Fine Art, 09-2006 for Gibson USA." Ah, interesting. So they didn't even do the finish. I wonder if that's true of Nitro. According to the seller, Fine Arts is located in Germany, who used to do some work for Gibson, and they did the painting of everything, and they say it's a nitro finish. And Native Instruments, who this anniversary model is for, is a company that produces products for computer-based music production. Kind of a weird niche piece. The person who sent it to me, I told him, if only this was put like back here, this would be one of the best promotional guitars I've seen. Alright, Troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care.